Okay, I was gonna hit there, this little platform there. See that? And try to knock a flake across to do two things at once. Try to get rid of some of this nasty material and thin this fat area down. So if I send a flake right here along this, following this ridge in that direction, even if it falls short, like if it only goes a little bit, it's still okay. I have other areas I can hit in to get rid of this mass, to get rid of the thick part. Now, like I said before, am I hitting in the exact spot that I need to, taking into account all the factors? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. I can label that as a certain priority. There's another place I could hit. I could hit this and remove some of this. I could probably hit this and remove some of that. Hit that one, remove some of this. I could do little flakes. I want to do a big flake because it's me. It's my level of experience, plus my aggressiveness, plus my confidence, plus the feel for the material. I think I can get a flake off of this strike here. If you're new, and this is for new guys, I keep saying it over and over and over, because some of you don't tune in at the same spots. Anyway, for you new guys, you probably won't take that hit. You'll probably take these little hits, and you use a little bopper, or you might do a zigzag at this stage to get rid of the square edges. But me, with experience, I'm going to take this risky hit there. Okay? All right. Seems like it did something, but yeah, I got an incipient crack in here. If you hit it again in the same spot, you can usually keep it intact, that initial flake, and just make it continue, right? So, yeah, but it didn't work. That incipient crack, you could see it on this side, but when I hit it again, there was also some crushing from the previous hit, so the second hit made the crushing worse, and the flake didn't travel through the material. That's why it looks like that. There's another aspect of this. The material itself is not that great, so it's going to do stuff like that. The next hit I'm going to make is going to be on this in here. So, not to worry. We'll get it thinned down eventually, or break it. That was way off. Okay, let me see. See, this is another reason why I don't film all the process, all the pieces I have in process, because trying to keep it in frame, trying to explain before I hit, trying to override my subconscious and all that, reduces the effectiveness of the Flintknapping. Okay, so that was a bad mistake. If you're new, you make a mistake like that, realize you can't be doing that very often, because sometimes it'll send in incipient cracks and it'll ruin your whole day. Okay, so making sure you have enough room, make sure you're not distracted. If you have noise or in the background that's distracting you, try to figure out how to get rid of it. If the temperature is not right, get that correct. Get everything set up so that the initial conditions are the most favorable. Don't do like I'm doing in a very cramped space, trying to get centered in frame for the video and hoping for the best. You know what I'm saying? So don't nap this way. I hope you can pick up strategies, but you're not going to be napping in exactly the same way, if you know what I mean. Okay. See if I can get some flake to come off here. Let's see. All right. So I wanted to get rid of that step fracture. So I did, but there's still a remnant in here. See that little remnant? Which means there could be a crack that still wants to go in there, but it didn't go all the way. from that initial step fracture, or it might be a defect in the stone. I don't think about that too much when I'm knapping, except to try to get rid of it, to try to flake it away. So I'm going to send in some flakes in there and see what it looks like. I can still see something weird, but hopefully it won't come back to haunt us. I'm going to try to do a zigzag now. Strategy on the zigzag. It's just easy. It's an easy strategy. I'm not really seeing a good opportunity there, so I'm going to move over to this platform here, strike off something there. Yeah, not too bad. Strike this off. See, it's the fattest area. Like if I was sanding this down, try to make a disc, I would be attacking this next on the sander. Same thing on the stone. After a while, you get to know if you've released the flake or not. Like I could tell, even though it didn't look like it was released, I could tell it was sitting in there, just needing an extra couple taps to get it fully released. But you can hear that after a while. You'll need to know that as a new napper, you'll need to know that you'll have to depend on your hearing sometimes. Yep, hearing is part of napping. No one discusses it, but it is part of flint napping. I mean, the archaeologists won't discuss it, but hearing is part of flint napping. What you hear the stone doing. I don't want to rag on the archaeologists because it's not their fault. They're just not trained for this sort of thing. Okay. Now these are gouging hits, but they're also slightly swiping. So there's a hybrid possibility. I told you there was two main ways to hit, right? And I told you there was some subtleties involved. You can hybridize. Slight swiping is okay on the gouging, and slight gouging on the swipe is okay. You know, those are called hybrid strikes. When I did that one there, it was a gouge, but with a slight sliding as well. So I was intentionally going downward and trying to gouge it at the same time. Okay, same with that one. Intentionally trying to swipe it, but also gouge it to push in pressure. Why do I want to push in pressure? Because I want a deep flake. I don't want a shallow flake. This one I wanted a deep flake as well. I wanted some deep flakes to take out that crud in there. There's an incipient bulb of percussion there. See that? From a previous strike somewhere. I mean, from something, either nature or the billet that I'm using. You can't always tell what has caused cracks in the material. Okay? Even if you're experienced, you won't know exactly. And I'm just taking opportunistic strikes. Sometimes I'll see if I can do a platform strike, or if I'll have to make one. If I'm sanding this on a sander, what's next? This little fat area there. I always tend to work on the ends. I'm always trying to see where the tip and the base are going to be. I think this is the tip and base here, but it could go that way. This seems to be the longer dimension than that, so I'm just going with the flow. This is going to be the tip or the base, and this will be the width if everything goes right. If it doesn't, I'll just switch it around. Still gouging with a lot of force because the material is tough. I could switch over to a more gentle strike, less momentum behind the strike now as it's getting thinner, but I'm going to continue with the heavy strikes just because thinning in the beginning with tough stone often requires a very forceful approach. If you just nibble around the edges, you wind up with a fat walnut, or I mean a fat almond, right? You want to skin off long flakes. And yeah, you're going to break a lot of material when you're new. You're going to break a lot of material doing what I'm showing you to do. You're going to say, to yourself, you're probably not going to say it in the comments, yeah, I followed your advice from that last video, but I broke everything I was doing for 4 days. You know what? You're supposed to break it for 4 days. It's a secret. Don't tell anybody. You're supposed to break everything for 4 days. 5 or 6 days if you're lucky. Yeah, but I just spent $70 on a box of rocks. Join the club, man. Join the club. Okay. You wanted to get into this. Gotta suck it up. Okay. So now I'm just taking pot shots at it. Alright. The strategy here is I need to get rid of some of that junk on the edge. It's getting to the point where I'm getting tired of trying to run long flakes right now. Yeah, it's a lot of subjective decisions, based on feelings. I'm getting tired of this or tired of that. It's getting frustrating, or I would like it to do this or like it to do that. Yep, a lot of the decisions will be subjective in your conscious mind, but your subconscious will make an adjustment, or it'll not like it. You'll start getting a queasy feeling, or I don't know. It's conflicted. You get conflicted, it means something's not right. The subconscious might be going, I don't like it. As far as, I don't know, I have no previous experience with that sort of stuff. Are you trying to do something weird? That kind of thing. So I'm looking around for a good flake to remove. Just so I don't feel weird. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I hit that pretty hard, but it's not going to work. Let's see about this one. Yeah, it's not going to work. See that? It doesn't want to flake with long flakes. Now, another thing that new guys have trouble with is determining, okay, what is good stone? What wants to flake with long flakes? I have no idea what good stone is. I think I'm using good stone, but apparently I'm not, because I'm not getting long flakes. Don't try to assess the material like an expert, because you're not going to be able to. You're going to have to rely on other people to assess your material. If you're a new guy and you're not getting success on the material, don't start saying, it might not be good rock. You need someone else to tell you if it's good rock or not. In the beginning, you cannot assess what is good rock and what is not. There's a reason why you have no idea. It's natural. Alright, so now I'm switching over to a different strike technique. This is another stage for me. I'm already done with the heavy momentum strikes. The last strike didn't work. I come up with this weird step fracture. I'm going to switch over to this. I can be faster because there's a swing to this one. It's a swing, so it adds a little bit more speed. More speed offers more force without a lot of effort. This requires more effort because it's just a more strength-driven hit. This one, you can swing it, so you're relying a little bit on the mallet to do some of the work when you swing it. Okay? So I'm going to be swinging it into the edge. And this next stage, I'm going to be trying to take off thinner flakes and longer flakes, hopefully, with this little swinging and faster strike technique. Still a gouging, maybe a hybrid where it is sliding a lot, but I'm just going to use the gouging on opportunistic or pre-made platforms at this stage. If it looks too delicate, I'm going to grind it, that sort of thing. I want to get rid of this stuff here. I want to get rid of the turtleback. Why? Because if I was sanding it on a sander, I'd want to get rid of that. Now, why don't you work on the end first? Well, it looks like this is going to be hard to get rid of. So I'm going to have to hit it extremely hard. I don't know. I kind of want to have the mask, but maybe I shouldn't. Now that I think about it. Yeah, I should probably take some of that mass off the end. Okay. Yeah. I want to take some mass off the end. I do want mass when I'm hitting it really hard because it'll resist. Mass in here in this. Doesn't really matter where it is. This is subtle now. Some of you guys are going to get lost. But with a lot of mass, it resists. When it resists the strike, it actually makes the flake flow better. That's why you can get good flakes off a big spall with just a little bing. Alright? Because you have a lot of mass. But there's a trade-off. If you got a lot of mass on the ends and you do that trick, hitting in the middle, you could snap it right across because you got these big old fat ends that increase the bending stress. So I'm going to take off, even though it's going to make it more difficult to remove that flake because it'll be lighter. I'm just going to increase the speed and take off this mass on the ends because it just has a better overall physical advantage in general to thin the ends. Okay, so it's best to be consistent in following certain rules. And one of the rules is thin the ends first. It's best to be consistent. Even though it may make it more difficult for you to do this, or for me to do this strike here. Well. Okay. Yeah. In a confined space, it's difficult, but that worked okay. Another one. I need another one just like that. Let's see. I know that went somewhere. Hope it didn't overshoot. Yeah, okay. It felt weird, like something happened, but it didn't. All right. So again, I'm just going to try to take a fast flake. Try to get rid of that turtleback. I really don't want to hit the end here in this direction, but I'm going to probably have to. Before that, I'm going to take a shot at the tip here because it's starting to get too thin in the middle. I need to take some off the end, so I'll go for the tip first. That was a pretty straightforward hit. No brainer right there. Strategy is just to thin the tip so that it's not too heavy. I think I know which is the tip. That's probably going to be the tip, and this the base. So I'm going to be napping from now on with that in mind. Narrow it down to get rid of this because it looks pretty bad with cracks. So another rule is get rid of the cracks whenever you can. Thin the ends, Get rid of any cracks or anything you can see that's defective in the material, like concrete, if you can, first. If you can't, it's alright. But if you can, it's a better strategy to try to do it. Okay, so I'm trying to not take off too much of this material because I'm trying to preserve maximum width and length. But I have to get right up next to this stuff if I really want to be serious about removing it. Because a lot of times it'll step fracture right into it, so you need a powerful hit to get through that. And the trick is, the closer you are to the mistake or to the bad part, the easier it is to flake through it. See, if I was trying to get rid of that from this side, I would have to overshoot the whole thing. It'd be much more difficult than trying to, get right up next to it and hit it from this side. Some guys say, no, it's better just to overshoot it. That way it just takes that right off. Yeah, well, you lose a lot of this edge that you may not want to. Right? You may not want to lose so much of that edge. And you have no control, regardless of what they say, you don't have any control of where the overshot goes. You just get lucky if it doesn't ruin your piece. You're just lucky. Okay. Let's see. I took that one first because it looked like it was going to travel, but it didn't. You want to go for the low-hanging fruit first, if you can. Easy strikes. This is also low-hanging fruit. This is a harder hit, but I don't need to thin the ends that much right at this stage, but I want to. I want to get rid of some of this. Okay, so I'm going to that looks like a much easier strike. It's just subjective. It's probably better if I create another big platform here, or a better continuous platform, and then strike it in this direction, but I don't like what's going on here. There's a lot of mess there. Let's see if I can run a flake across here instead of trying to run a flake into here to get rid of that. Okay. Okay, so that was good. It also revealed some more weirdness in the material. So I'm gonna, at this stage, excuse me. At this stage, I'm done with the turtleback stage. It's no longer turtleback-ish. Switch over to indirect percussion. That last piece, whatever. That last piece removed the turtleback. That last flake. So it's now time to use indirect percussion. In my opinion, some guys will continue with percussion because they're good at it. I don't trust myself, so I'm going with the indirect percussion. It's tough material, so I'll use the aluminum mallet first to see what happens. It's pretty much the same as the other material. Yeah, aluminum works pretty good. I'm losing less energy with the aluminum than I would with the plastic. So it's really smashing through a lot of that stuff. Alright, nope, I need a little bit stronger than that. I'm gonna hit right here with a strong hit. Yeah, I've crushed it. Let's see. That went somewhere, but it hasn't released yet. Come on. Yeah, it's not gonna look that great. Yeah. Got something going on there. Should have overshot. Some guys saying you should have tried to overshoot it, but I wouldn't have this edge here. I want this edge. I just don't want this. So I'm going to try to flake in through here, coming down this way. And then I'm worried about that later. See, I'm still wide, and I can still probably get rid of this and stay wide. It traveled a little bit, but not too bad, not too much. I'm going to start hitting now on the face of that step fracture, because that's the last resort. You don't want to do that too much, because a lot of times those flakes will dive in. And make sure that you're not hitting too much inward into the stone. Just want to flake off the top edge, and it'll carry a little bit. All right, get rid of some of the thickness on the edge. Is it affecting it when I'm using the aluminum? Yeah, it might be affecting it. It might be shortening the flakes, but I don't think it is. I think it's just the material that's hard to nap through. So I'm taking some low-hanging fruit flakes. That means it's easy stuff, just to clean up the edge. While I think about what I'm going to do next, see if it shapes up. If I can see opportunities, I can now see the opportunity here to go that way from here. Sometimes the subconscious comes up with these things, and it was doing something, and I wasn't really realizing what it was doing, but now I see it. Let's see what happens. That was a good hit, but not powerful enough. Should I have used the aluminum mallet to hit that with? Maybe. Too late now, though. I'm using the plastic. I'm getting used to it. If I keep switching back and forth, it reduces the effectiveness. Let's see. Yeah, it's really not cooperative material. Let me see here. Let me think about this. I'm going to take this side down to move this edge this way. I'm going to do a few flakes into here, and then try to do some other flaking into there. So I'm thinking a couple steps ahead. I'm taking this off, not for the overall shape necessarily, but also to run some flakes in this way, because I'm going to need to anyway, because it's too thick right here. So I'm going to need to reduce that down anyway, in normal progress, but then it'll bring the edge back to this side, so I can run a flake and maybe hit this from the back side and eliminate it. Dressing up the edge with the abrader by using it like a hammerstone abrader hybrid type technique. I'm striking it but abrading it also at the same time. I use that a lot. It's not only abrading, it's not only this, it's hitting and brushing and abrading. Why? Because it develops a stronger edge that way. The more you are aggressive with the edge, the more it blows away the weaker areas, the faster it blows away the weaker areas. I just think it's the most efficient way. Okay. All right. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to get a long flake probably, but I'm going to try anyway. Yeah, I was trying for a longer flake maybe to see if it would travel. It did travel a little bit, but not nearly as much as it should have. Yeah, I'm going to have to really hit this hard to get it to travel. It's already 30 minutes. I don't know if I want to finish this one out or heat treat it so that I can make it usable and not just waste time. But we'll see. All right.